Some films make you jump. Some keep you up at night. And then, there are the ones you were never supposed to see at all. From cursed reels locked in vaults to movies banned in dozens of countries. This is the banned horror film's iceberg. We start at one surface and then we descend. The surface is where you'll find the infamous, the horror legends that still made it into theaters but not without controversy. The Exorcist, 1973. In 1973, priests were called to bless theaters. Ambulances waited outside screenings. In the UK alone, over 30 local councils refused to show it. Across the world, people fainted, vomited, and some claimed the film left them cursed. The story of a possessed girl may have been fiction, but for many, the fear was absolutely real. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, 1974. No blood fountains, no CGI monsters, just raw, sweaty human terror. So intense that entire countries refused to screen it. In Britain, it was banned for over 20 years. Even now, it's hard to tell where the performance ends and the nightmare begins. Cannibal Holocaust, 1980. This one blurred the line between fiction and murder. When it premiered in Italy, the director was arrested on suspicion of making a snuff film. He had to bring his actors to court to prove they were still alive. Several countries banned it outright, and in some, it's still illegal to own today. A Serbian film, 2010. If you've heard the name, you probably wish you hadn't. Banned in over 20 countries, heavily censored in others, it's often called one of the most disturbing films ever made. And yet, it's become a dark legend in horror circles, a film people dare each other to watch and regret. The Human Centipede 2, 2011. The sequel nobody asked for and many tried to stop. Banned in the UK until over 30 cuts were made, it's a black and white descent into pure depravity, a film designed to make you squirm and proof that sometimes sequels go too far. Here, the titles are less known to casual audiences, but to horror fans, they're whispered legends. Hostel, Part 2, 2007. A film so graphic, Slovakia's tourism board demanded a public apology. In New Zealand, it was banned outright. It's not just gore, it's the idea that money can buy anything, including someone's life. I Spit on Your Grave, 1978. Originally released under a different title, this revenge horror was pulled from shelves across the UK and Australia. Even critics who praised its feminist undertones couldn't stomach its brutality. Saw 6, 2009. By this point, the Saw franchise was a Halloween tradition. But in Spain, Saw 6 was slapped with an X rating, reserved for hardcore pornography. The distributor refused to cut it, making it one of the few mainstream horrors to be effectively banned in a modern Western country. The Evil Dead, 1981. A student film that became a horror icon and part of the UK's infamous Video Nasties list. It was seized from video stores, and for years you could only get it in bootleg form. Faces of Death, 1978. Part documentary, part staged horror, this shockumentary claimed to show real death. Many scenes were faked, but not all, and that's what got it banned in multiple countries, kept behind the counter in others, and burned into the memories of anyone who dared to watch. Now we're descending into titles that most people have never seen, and for some, never even heard of. Men Behind the Sun, 1988. A Chinese film about Japan's Unit 731 during World War II. So graphic and realistic it was banned across much of Asia. Several historical scenes were recreated with such detail that audiences thought they were real. Salo, or The 120 Days of Sodom, 1975. Adapted from the writings of the Marquis de Sade, this Italian film is as infamous as it is unwatchable. Banned in the UK until the late 90s, it's less a movie and more an endurance test, and even in art circles it remains divisive. Antichrist, 2009. Directed by Lars von Trier, this art house horror divided critics at Cannes, some calling it a masterpiece, others walking out in disgust. Several countries banned it entirely for its extreme content. Grotesque, 2009. A Japanese film with no plot, only torture. It was banned in the UK before it even hit shelves. Even horror veterans often refuse to finish it. The Last House on the Left, 1972. A low-budget debut from Wes Craven that shocked audiences with its raw violence. Pulled from cinemas across the US and UK, its tagline warned, "To avoid fainting, keep repeating, it's only a movie." This is where the iceberg becomes dangerous. Most viewers won't recognize these names, and most who do wish they didn't. Guinea Pig, Flower of Flesh and Blood, 1985. An underground Japanese horror so convincing that actor Charlie Sheen reported it to the FBI as a real snuff film. It was banned in multiple countries and remains one of the most notorious titles in extreme cinema. Tumbling Doll of Flesh, 1998. An obscure Japanese exploitation tape, rarely seen outside bootleg circles. Rumors suggest there are still entire scenes that never made it online. Necromantic, 1987. A German cult film about love, death, and obsession. Banned in its home country, it was circulated on VHS among horror collectors and still shocks audiences decades later. Traces of Death, 1993. Unlike Faces of Death, this one made no attempt to fake anything. It was pure, unfiltered, real footage, and that made it unmarketable and illegal in several nations. Philosophy of a Knife, 2008. Part documentary, part reenactment, this 4-hour epic about Unit 731's atrocities was banned in multiple regions for its unflinching detail. Here lie the ghosts of horror cinema, films so extreme, so obscure, that even seasoned horror fans may never find them. Snuff, 1976. Marketed as a real murder caught on camera, a marketing stunt so effective that it sparked moral panic. In the UK, it was refused a certificate entirely. Angel's Melancholy, 2009. An art house descent into nihilism, often described as one of the most depressing films ever made. Almost impossible to find legally, and maybe that's for the best. The Bunny Game, 2010. Shot in black and white over 5 days, this low-budget abduction film was banned in the UK for its sadistic tone. Murder Set Pieces, 2004. An exploitation slasher that pushed the limits of independent cinema and went straight into the banned list in multiple countries. The Untold Story, 1993. Based on real murders in Macau, this Hong Kong crime horror was so violent it was banned in several Asian territories. Melancholie der Engel, 2009. Two friends travel to a rural house for what begins as a reunion and spirals into one of the most extreme, surreal experiences in cinema. Banned almost everywhere and still considered one of the hardest films to watch in history. From blockbuster bans to underground tapes, this Iceberg is proof that horror's deepest shadows are reserved for the films most people will never see. The question is, would you dare to dive deeper? This has been Depths Unknown, and the further you go, the darker it gets.